Hello, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Jay Steinberg. Welcome to the Algebra 2 Honors Back to School Night presentation. You might be cold standing outside the building, so let's go inside. Here's our classroom. On the board, you'll see some of the topics that we learn about in Algebra 2 Honors. You might be thinking to yourself, you might remember some of these. So far this year, our students have learned about quadratic polynomials. That's your degree 2 polynomials. We're about to learn about polynomials of degree 3 and higher and what they look like. We also talk about rational functions and logarithms and exponential growth and decay situations, sequences of numbers. We dip our toes into some data analysis and a little bit of statistics. By the end of the year, we end up learning about trigonometry and triangle measure. Anytime I'm able to make a connection to the real world, I will use math to explain something that exists and use math in order to solve real life problems. Take a look at the textbook that was laying on that desk. It takes us to this. This is the textbook that we use. I find it's a great resource. I use it to plan what subjects to teach in which order. They do a great job linking subjects from one to the next and concepts from major units from one to the next. I make a lot of our resources myself, so I don't require students have a copy of this. Although we have physical books available at the high school, if any of the students want to come in and request that, I've loaned out several. But again, if you borrow it, you don't really need to use it. I don't ask the kids to bring it. You could just have it in a safe place at home, and by the end of the year, you could just return it. So I'm going to go down here to the graded test. This is my grading policy. We have two major categories. One of them is assessments. The other is practice. Assessments is weighted 90% of the grade for the marking period will be the assessments. That's your tests, your quizzes, or any other graded assignments that are based off of accuracy. And then the last 10% of your marking period grades would be for practice and homework. So things that are assigned that I want completed before a deadline, and if they meet the expectations and they're done ahead of time and completed, then students will earn 2 points or full credit for each assignment. I do not accept late homework because we have to move on from topic to topic, and I need things to be learned in a timely manner because I try to make the connections from one idea to the next. Down below, you'll see the second chance learning policy for the math department. Each second chance learning policy is specific per department. Some of the differences that you might see is there's an expectation for students to complete 75% of the homework before they are eligible to request a second chance learning policy. It is one test or one quiz each marking period, but not towards the end of the marking period and not on a cumulative test. Also, we average the grade of the original grade and the second chance learning grade, and that's the grade that goes in the report card. So let's come back to here. Speaking about grading and homework, this is usually how homework is disseminated. I will link an assignment in OnCourse for students. It's also linked in a weekly schedule. So we use OnCourse to communicate what ideas or what our homework is for each night. Students use their phone and an app called Cam Scanner, which is a free app, but the Cam Scanner application will ask students to purchase a more expensive than free version, which has extra features. Nothing we do uses those extra features, so they can just cancel out the ads when they do pop up. Students will add these assignments as an attachment in OnCourse, and then I can grade it using a Kami software where I write on top of it, send them feedback, and send it back. And that's when it will appear at the bottom in their screen of what was recently graded, and students will have an idea of, in this workflow here on the side, of what is due and what has just been returned back. Okay, speaking of homework, this year creates a couple of challenges that we have never faced before. So I just want to make sure that I'm having regular conversations with students about what does it mean to be academic, honest academically, and like how to be ethical in this class. At no point in time should students be copying another student's homework. And I know there's temptation to lend your homework to somebody else. I'm just going to make sure that I say it now, and I will say it, for them regularly, that there's no real reason for you to give your homework or receive somebody else's homework, especially when your grades are supposed to be a reflection of what they know. It's about equity, it's about fairness, and I don't want to be in a situation where I don't trust my students any longer because they have breached the sacred trust of being an honest student. Other materials, let's go to this backpack. These are some typical things you would find in my math classroom. I want students to use pencil and have a notebook that's dedicated to math. Of course, we're going to use our Chromebook. These calculators will do everything we need them to do. Even a scientific calculator is enough. I tell students the algebraic ways of how to do things without having to use this technology. Although I love graphing calculators and using them, it's a want, it's not a need. But if you are going to buy one of these calculators, or the graphing calculators, or the 83 Plus or the 84, the scientific calculator is a Texas Instrument 30X2S. I punch a lot of holes through our notes packet, so if they have a 3-ring binder or some sort of folder, they can stay nice and organized this year. So we hold a lot of our classes through Zoom this year. These are the regulations for our Zoom. I want students to be on time, which means to come early and be prepared with all their notes and materials. I want them to be visible. I want the cameras to be on their faces throughout the period. If students have a lagging issue where they have an audio that's not really working right, then there might be a reason for them to turn off their cameras, and I totally understand that. If students have a question, they can virtually raise their hand with an emoji, or they can ask their questions in chat, so that one student or one teacher is speaking at a time. I record the lessons so that they are uploaded within the assignments, and if students want to come back to a topic, they're able to look at our classroom notes for any particular lesson, which is awesome. That almost wraps it up for me. Speaking about tech issues, if students do incur a tech issue, the help desk at hvrsd.org is a place that they can reach out to get that resolved. If you have any other questions for me, please feel free to write them down, even if it's just one good thing for you to tell me about your son or daughter that might help me to teach them. Then I'm all ears. I will be glad to listen to them, to those suggestions. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here. Thank you very much, and have a good evening.